party of your dreams.
Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg hits the political view to reveal if the 2020 election's going to be a battle of the billionaires. Plus, stand-up superstar and transgender activist Eddie Izzard. Here come Hump Day Hot Topics with Whoopi,
Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
The votes are in on the Georgia congressional runoff. Democrats thought they'd be able to pull off a win, but it did not happen. But he did not lose by much. But Jon Ossoff was defeated by Republican Karen Handel. So people are saying, you know, oh, the Democrats can't pull it off. I just want to say that this race was much closer than anybody thought it was going to be, particularly in a state that has always gone Republican, much like the race that we saw. Oh, my God, where was it? Where the gentleman shoved the other guy.
Oh, was that Montana?
Montana. I think it was Montana.
Yeah, okay.
So is it that they haven't pulled it all the way out, or are things moving in a different direction?
I think things are moving. This was a district that hadn't gone Democratic since the 70s? 1978.
Yeah.
So, and the strides he made are more proof that there are people coming in and participating that are making a difference. This was a guy with, he's 30. I don't think
I know, but the fact remains that since Donald Trump won the election, or you know, since he was nominated, the Democrats have lost 3 elections. So if you're using Donald Trump as your basis for your campaign, I don't know if it's working. I don't think people are going towards the Democrats in enough numbers at this point. And it's a problem, big problem.
What we're seeing, though, is in this particular district, to your point, Whoopi, this is the most educated, wealthiest district. I hear music. District in Georgia, and education means that they are likely making more money, and we know that the Republican Party, certainly the tax cuts that the Trump administration has promised, is going to inure to the benefit of that community. So I don't think we should be so surprised that they voted in their best interest. I don't know that it's an indictment of Trump. I don't think it's an indictment of the Democrats.
Generally speaking,
I think
Sonny,
it makes sense.
Generally speaking, Republicans vote in bigger numbers than Democrats.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so the trick is to get these people to the polls. Now, how do you get them there? You've got to have a clear message. You've got to have a charismatic candidate. You've got to promise them that. You've got to do what Donald Trump did on the right.
Yes, but you know what? The bottom line is...
No.
What?
He was charismatic. I was going to say, he didn't even move into the district.
That was the issue.
The Democratic Party should have said to him, listen, you want to run, you want to win, you move into the district.
He didn't spend his whole life there.
That's good enough.
Yeah, no, that's true. Here's a good point. Not only did he not live in the district, but a vast majority of his donors came from outside the state.
The bottom line is, you can say it's a loss. I don't see it that way. I see that Democrats are coming out, and they're not coming out perhaps in the numbers you want them to come out in. Montana, this kid, the man who ran against the gentleman who won, would never have had not one iota of movement had changes not been happening. I'm saying I'm not looking at this as a loss. I'm looking at it as slow progress.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, too. I think the issue, though, what I was saying before, is the vast majority of his donors came from outside the state. He also had a lot of celebrity endorsements, and I think what was confusing for me was his messaging, because when I would hear him, I would hear a heavy focus on Trump and anti-Trump, and then I would hear some conservative rhetoric about the debt and concerns. I think, for me, when I look at the Democratic Party, what concerns me is that I don't see a clear message, and I think a lot of voters in those areas of the country that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton felt the same way, and I think if they focus on messaging, messaging.
Sanders had a clear message.
Right.
He just didn't get the nomination.
That's true. I agree.
He had a clear message. You need a young Bernie
But I don't
Sanders.
think this guy
Look
had
at
a clear
Trudeau
message.
in
You don't
Canada.
need a
Look
young
at
Bernie
Macron.
Sanders. Listen, Bernie had a lot of time to get his own state together.
Bernie
and
was
he
saddled,
didn't.
but Bernie was saddled as a socialist. He was old, the whole thing.
Listen, his message didn't hold.
But what should the message be? What should be the Democratic message?
The message, look, I don't think there's anything wrong with the message. I think what's happening is people have to make decisions. You know, you feel you don't want to see any more gay people. I'm sorry, gay people are here, they're staying. And they do want all this. That's not going to change. You want people to understand how you feel about your God. Well, I know how you feel about your God. That's great. But you can't force me to feel about your God how you feel about your God.
But I think
there are a lot of specifics that people don't want to hear anymore. They don't want to see a lot of changes. People are tired of change. But this is America, and this is what we do.
It's also more than social issues involved. The people who voted for Democrat, the ones who were going to vote for the Democrats, need to know that they're going to have jobs. They need to know they're going to have health care. They need to know that they don't have to pay a fortune to go to a state university.
Listen, they had. Well, here's
the Republican message was a strong one. Donald Trump's message was, we're going to make America great again. I think that really resonated with so many Americans.
Listen, it resonated with Americans because they felt they had a president who didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And listening to all the rhetoric on Fox, you think Obama was sitting around smoking a joint somewhere.
Yeah, but...
my point is, you know, there could have been more jobs had the infrastructure gone through, but the Republicans said they're not going to do it. There could have been a lot more stuff going on for everybody, but the Republicans sat and made a big turn and said, this is what we're doing.
I think the Democrats should be countering the message by the Republicans, because what we've seen from conservatives is a promise of jobs in things like coal
and making
things
America
in things that are outdated. What Democrats need to do is come together with innovation of where energy is going, where things are going, and really create jobs and counterbalance the strength
Well,
of that
that's what
message.
Hillary Clinton should have done. She
didn't speak enough about that.
She should have gone into coal country and said, look, your jobs are okay for now, but your children will not have jobs in coal. We will give them jobs in clean energy. She didn't say that.
No, she didn't, because there's an agency that was created for people who were moved out of the coal industry. There is an agency to teach people what to do now. Right. Those agencies, nobody ever went to those agencies. Nobody talked about these agencies. All of this stuff that people keep saying, that's not the, it has been there. It has been there. So what Democrats probably need to do is say, listen, you have to make a decision as an American. You say America first. What does that mean? Are you going to buy from America first? Because we can put manufacturing back. Are you going to buy it, or are you going to go where you think it's going to be cheaper? Because a lot of what we've done as Americans is allow folks to take our jobs and put them overseas,
including
because
Donald
it's cheaper.
Trump's companies.
And there's also the technology piece, though. If we're being honest, technology is taking away a lot of those traditional jobs, not only clean energy, but just other jobs. And so I think the Democrats have to come up with...
Retail is dying.
Yeah, the Democrats have to come up with some sort of message that counters this Make America Great Again. Maybe, you know, learn technology. Technology is where it's at. I don't know.
That's not going to take away from people who, I mean, I don't care if it's Fox or CNN or what. If people are seeing too much too much of their money leaving their paychecks, if people are not happy with their health care, that was for the administration to blame. That you can't blame it all on Republicans. It's called Obamacare. It was the Affordable Care Act.
I'm not talking about health care. You know,
but that's a lot of reason why people voted.
I'm sorry, worked in Massachusetts for a very long time.
I think it was called Romney.
That was
That
was in one state, though, and it wasn't.
But you know, nothing is perfect. And had these guys, if these guys came up with an idea that would allow us to say, here's what works for us, here's what doesn't, and start working from there, I think it would be a lot easier. But that's not what's happening. Because Obama's name on it, they say, well, we can't do any of this. It's ridiculous to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
They had years to think about it, and when their time came up, they came up with a really bad...
You know, DNC Chairman Tom Perez is going to be here, and we'll talk to him tomorrow and see what he wants to do. And yes, I took way too much time, but in fact, we'll be right back.
Ahead, billionaire
billionaire businessman Michael Bloomberg gives his political view on why Trump could be a two-term president. Plus, comedian, actor, and activist Eddie Izzard.
Republicans are feeling the love right now, but it seemed like Senator Marco Rubio was not one of them. A photo of him attempting to embrace Ivanka Trump went viral because she seemed not to really be into it. She says it's fake news, but I mean, she doesn't look like she's into it. I mean, how do you know? I mean, is fake news something that has never happened, or what is exactly fake
even though
news?
it was a joke, they shouldn't be using fake news lightly because it's a very kind of hot topic, and it was very misleading through this whole campaign. Fake news is when you're intentionally trying to mislead people. This is just funny, so they shouldn't be throwing around fake news.
Fun, you know.
I've been laughing at Ivanka, not Marco, though. She looks like a board.
And I never understand the sunglasses inside.
Yeah, that was
Future's so bright, Sonny.
I mean, because they're inside, aren't they? Why are the
Maybe
sunglasses?
her eyes are tired. She doesn't have enough makeup on. All sorts of reasons.
Maybe she just came in from outside.
Maybe she just came in. That's true.
There were some funny people had fun online, and Marco's one of them, which I thought was cute. Based on review of evidence and my own recollection, have concluded no hug was even attempted, and press covfefe of alleged failed hug is false. And then another one was new photo emerging. This is also from Marco Rubio, providing more insight into alleged failed hug. Faces blurred for security purposes. It's like,
see, people say he doesn't have a sense of humor.
But that's a good point, because we always talk about Donald Trump's inability to laugh at himself. If this had been him, he'd be tweeting out about how the media hates him or some nonsense.
If it was
Good
him,
on them.
If it was him, he'd be hugging Ivanka, right? Trust me.
I do appreciate a sense of humor. Someone that can laugh at themselves does remind you that there's a humanity sometimes.
Isn't it interesting? I mean, the hug to me connoted that they had some sort of relationship.
Well, not back from her.
Well, yeah, but he thought that they had some sort of relationship. I mean, I'd rather hug than shake hands because my hands are always cold and clammy. So I don't want to, you know, shake people's hands. But he must have thought...
Why are your hands always cold and clammy?
I don't know. Feel them.
Bad circulation.
No.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
Mine are warm and clammy.
That's happened. All right.
So, it's the awkward go in for the shake, go in for the hug. It's meet the parents when you don't know what to do.
I was thinking, when did fake news start? You know, the Inquirer. Remember years ago? It was in the supermarket. No, they say aliens had landed. The Globe would make up stories.
See, that was true.
All that. But all that stuff was sort of limited to supermarkets, and now it's on the front page
because
of
of social media, because it blew up with social media, with the launch of Twitter and Facebook.
And every
people
once in a while, the
they could...
Inquirer gets it right, like they did with, was it Sanford?
John Edwards.
John Edwards. And when because they got it right at least that one time.
But they screamed fire so many times, you're like, yeah, right. And then, like, it's true.
I know people who believe that stuff when they read
the aliens I did.
My grandmother used to believe almost everything that was in there. National Enquirer. Yes, she got it every week. And some of the stories give you some food for thought.
The worst are the thigh shots. They're always like, what fat celebrity is that? And you're like, are you kidding me? This is so disgusting.
But the UFO stories are interesting.
I told you, it's the aliens.
You would say that.
Area 51.
You believe in that stuff?
I don't believe in any of that.
I believe there are other life forms, Joy.
Yeah, but not necessarily on this planet.
Well,
there may be aliens amongst us.
Scanning the audience right now. What is happening out here?
I think they call immigrants aliens.
No.
No, because there's confusion.
It's supposed to be undocumented.
It's also incorrect.
They call them aliens.
It's offensive.
Illegal aliens. It's like, really? They're for like coming out of a spaceship.
But you also believe in life, other life forms outside of
outside maybe,
outside of here. Do you think that maybe there are some aliens amongst us?
Have you seen Men in Black?
See? Yes.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All you have to do is spend a couple of minutes at this table and you'll find out. We'll be right back.
How is billionaire businessman Michael Bloomberg putting his money where his mouth is to defy one of President Trump's most controversial moves? Find out next.
Is proof that a guy who's made a name for himself as a businessman can actually be a businessman and can transition into a successful, effective politician. Please welcome one of the great dudes out there, former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Great dude.
think anybody's called me a great dude in 75 years.
Well, you know.
We like you.
We do like you, you know.
miss you.
So, as I recall, there was a point when you were not a big fan of the gentleman who's now in office as president.
No, I never said that.
Really? You didn't call him a dangerous demagogue?
I said that I thought that out of the two candidates running, he was not the one that you should vote for. You should vote for the other one, who I still had some issues with.
Right.
But I was very careful in what I said, and I meant it.
Okay. All right. Well.
But did you think he was a dangerous demagogue?
I don't think I used the word demagogue.
What about con man?
I did. That I did.
Con man. I remember that now, yeah.
I'm just letting you know, Dana, I did ask the question.
Let's just all hope that Donald Trump is a good president of the United States. He's our president, and we need this country to be run well. I didn't vote for him, but I think I would not make the mistake. Mitch McConnell said when Barack Obama was elected, let's make him a one-term president.
Yeah.
Let's not make this work. And I thought, that's our country. That's my kids and my grandkids. We have to make it work. You have an election. Whoever wins, then we got to get behind and work. And you can run against somebody else. But the difference between America and some other countries, in other countries, if they lose an election, they try to tear down the government. They try to have a revolution. We should sit back and say, okay, 4 years from now, how do I get my person, my woman, or my man elected? And that's very different.
Well, wait a second. That doesn't mean that with all the crazy stuff that's going on in this administration, that you should not have a strong resistance.
No, and I think if you disagree,
There's
you
a
should...
difference between tearing down and resisting.
You should go out there, you can protest, you can elect other officials, you can write letters, you can make phone calls, you can carry signs, you can do all that. But in the end, we're a democracy. The public has spoken, whether you like the results or not. And other than with a little help from the Russians, he was elected.
Looking forward, I mean, Ossoff's lost last night in the 6th District of Georgia. What can Democrats do differently in terms of messaging, just in terms of, I don't know.
Well, I think you've got to understand, local elections are local, and generally they revolve around local issues, a school bus or a roof on a YMCA, or whether you can use bicycles on the sidewalks and things like that.
You should be able to do that.
Okay, but whether I don't happen to agree with you, but I will defend your right to be wrong. Trust me, I'll do that. But I think you got to be careful in not reading too much into this election. Although I will say one thing. Maybe it shows that all the money in the world can't buy an election. That we focus on money. Why? Because there's a lot of people who make money, the advertisers, the stations, news stations, television stations, whatever. But the public is a lot smarter than people give them credit for. And they look and they see and they decide. And Donald Trump showed you can get elected president of the United States without spending a lot of money. I don't know if he got any money of his own.
He got a lot of free advertising. No, let's not even talk about that.
He got a lot of free advertising because he said things that the newspapers and television stations thought the public wanted to hear. The press is very democratic. They give you what you ask for, and if you want embarrassment and failure and scandal and sensationalism, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
And if you don't, they know because you stop watching or you stop reading, and they'll change.
Right. Yeah.
And Donald Trump had a message. I thought, when I was listening to you backstage, make America great again. And it I don't know what the again means, because we're better today than we've ever been. Still, that's the truth.
Let me get to your point before we run out of time. Your point. Because a lot of people are very upset that Trump is pulling out of the Paris Accord. You are one of them.
Yes.
You have defied the president by personally pledging $15 million, a drop in the bucket for you. Right?
Real money.
Put a few more. So what do you think? Why is this so important to you?
Well, keep in mind, America is halfway towards meeting the goals that we agreed to already, and we still have 8 years to get the other half done, so we're going to get it done. It was not done with any real help from the Obama administration, and it's certainly not going to be done with any help from the Trump administration. It was done by private citizens buying more efficient fuel more efficient cars, by painting their roofs white so it reflects heat off the sun. It's done by corporations putting up solar panels and stopping polluting. It was done by a lot of people getting behind and helping with the economics, close coal-fired power plants, so we're putting a lot less crap in the air. That was what was done, and that's going to continue. And the U.S. government is still a participant in this, even if Donald wants to drop out for the next 4 years. That's just the way the deal works. During that 4 years, I assume they will pay the $15 million which we owe as our share of supporting the organization that keeps score. And I said, if they reneged, and we're not a country that you renege on, particularly on $15 million or anything, I said, well, I'll give up the money. I'll give the money if you needed it, but I don't think you're going to have to do that. I assume the American government's going to pay what it committed to pay, even if it doesn't like it. You make a commitment, you live with it.
You stick with it. Yeah. Now, saving the environment is your primary focus right now. You've done such incredible work with common sense gun control and reform, but you have a new documentary called From the Ashes, and it looks at the coal industry. Now, do you believe that President Trump will be able to bring back the jobs that he promised American coal workers?
There's no chance. The jobs that are in the coal industry, most of them will continue to go away the way they've been doing it. Today, there's only 50,000 people working in coal. Only 15,000 of those are miners. In 1980, there were 250,000. Back in the 20s, there were 800,000. What's happened here is two things. One, people are using less coal because it's the most polluting thing you can do. And what's happened also is renewables, solar and wind, as well as natural gas, have become cheaper. So people are buying other ways to generate electricity rather than coal. So the demand is going down. The other thing is technology has automated the way they dig up coal. And that's happening in the retail business. It's happening in the news business. It's happening everywhere. And so we've got to find some ways to create jobs for people going forward, because a lot of the jobs they have now just aren't going to exist, and that's certainly true of the coal miners' jobs. And one of the things Bloomberg Philanthropies is working on, we're trying to support 3 organizations which retrain coal miners to other jobs. Unfortunately, in the president's proposed budget, which probably will be modified before it gets adopted, he takes away money from one of those organizations.
Really?
But nevertheless, the important thing is not what Donald Trump does. The important thing is what we all do. We have to find ways to create jobs, and everybody in this room, everybody watching, the industries that you're working in are going to downsize because of technology, which means you're going to get better products at lower prices, but the jobs are going away, and we've got to find a ways to create jobs. And it's better education. It's letting people come from around the world and start businesses here. We need more global trade if you want more jobs.
You sound like you have, I'm listening to this, and you sound like you have a political platform for president that you're launching right now. And you thought about running against Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Is that a possibility?
The only presidency I'm thinking about running about is my block association. Been there, done that.
He's the only Republican I've ever voted for is Michael Bloomberg.
You sound like
I wasn't even a Republican.
Yes, you were.
You sound like, I think one of the issues with politicians right now is that there's a lot of slogans and not a lot of actual action, where you're talking about transitions of jobs from coal to other industries. These are things that people want to hear. So
they want to hear, but they want to see it done.
That's right.
That's right. And so we've got to find ways to do it and go and implement, and that's where I'm spending my time trying to do it. And I take all the profits from my company and put it into the foundation. The foundation's going out and doing these kinds of things. Can't do everything.
And keep doing that, because he's making a bigger difference than most politicians.
I don't know about that, but.
Do you trust the free market ultimately to fix some of these things, like the coal, the transition to clean energy?
I think there's no question that capitalism is the economic model that works. Socialism did not work. The trouble is we've got to make sure that capitalism includes everybody and not just some people. But in the end, if you want jobs, you have to have it.
But it has to include everyone.
You have to try to include everyone. I don't think you can ever get there, but we have to keep working and not give up. And if sometimes things you try fail, you got to come back with other ideas to keep doing that.
That's right. And that is the real message. Michael Bloomberg, we thank you.
Thank you.
From the Ashes premieres this Sunday on National Geographic Channel. Check your local listings for time. And members of our audience, you're all going to get this book, okay? You're all getting the book. You're all getting the book. Climate of Hope. We'll be right back. A new app that lets you upload a picture of a celebrity you'd like to date, and the app will help you find a lookalike in various dating sites.
No bueno.
So, come on, man. Would you use this?
I would use that.
It would be such. It would be such a disappointment. I had a friend once try to set me up on a blind date with someone that looked totally like Colin Farrell. I walked up to the restaurant. I looked in. And I said, there's no way that's Colin Farrell.
Did you look and run?
No, I showed up, and he was a nice guy, but the whole night I'm thinking, what the heck is she thinking? He doesn't look like
They're
Colin
never
Farrell.
going to look like the person.
It's not about that, though. Everybody has a type, right? So why not just narrow it down with somebody who's out of familiar?
Because then you're sad it's not Colin Farrell. Like, you're looking at the guy.
I mean, my friends do play that game. Like, I'll say, oh, well, you know, I met somebody, and they'd say, well, who would play him in a movie? And they, you know, right? That's like a good game. Maybe it's something like that.
I would put, this is the one I picked. You know Liev Schreiber? The actor?
he's
He's my type. I like him.
Liev Schreiber, he's
Tall
cute.
and skinny and Jewish. That's what I like.
If you could put 4 people in of the same type, then you don't focus on one, and it's kind of, this is the general gist. Then they might look more like that.
What if you put Larry King? Do they say try again?
They say, what's wrong with you?
Who would you put in?
Use this app, and they asked me, and I said I can't. And not only that, you don't have to put a celebrity in. You can put a picture of an ex. Can you imagine the catastrophe?
No, that's sick.
That's
a sickness.
This app will be abused in no time.
Anyway.
Listen, I'm with Whoopi. You want to meet somebody? Go to the bar, sit down, order a drink. I'm very old school. This app stuff, this is chaos.
Just like a hooker. It's a good idea.
Have a drink. Talk to someone.
It's not about the looks, it's about the brain. Like
You're not putting his brains in there.
I picked President Obama because I would want to talk to someone that had that kind of
Good luck finding that in an online profile.
But you can't tell them.
No, Sonny, they're going to pull people that look like President Obama.
That's why it wouldn't work for me.
We got to go.
Is stand-up superstar and transgender activist Eddie Izzard ready to dig his heels into a political run? Find out next.
Memoir of love, death, and jazz chickens. Please welcome one of the funniest people on the planet, Eddie Izzard. You know, I am fascinated by the book. You know, I also loved your documentary. But in this book, you write about your childhood and how losing your mom when you were a little boy really sort of framed everything about you.
Yes, it was 1968, which turned out to be a hellish year for people dying, but Mum died in 1968. I was 6 years old. My brother was just about to turn 8, and she'd been ill for some time, and she'd gone yellow. She had jaundice, but we just thought, Mum's yellow. Oh, she goes yellow, and then she'll get well. And you know, as a kid, you get ill, and then you get better. And then she didn't, and one day we came home, and it's the first chapter of the book, and I'm not going to read it out, but we came home, and she wasn't there, and we never saw her again, and so it just knocked us sideways. And obviously my dad did know it was happening, and it totally affected him. It was he'd had a marriage before. This was his good marriage, and the 2 kids, and suddenly 9 years, and then Mum was gone. And for me and my brother, it blew us away. But I think I became a performer because Mum died. I think that's how I've interpreted it.
When you look in the mirror, do you see her looking back at you?
No, I don't see that. I don't think being transgender has anything to do with my mum, by the way. I knew that before. When I came out, my dad said, I'm okay with this, and if your mum was still alive, she'd be okay with it too.
That's nice.
Which was a very nice thing.
Very nice. Not everybody gets that kind of approval. were here last time, you know, Whoopi rattled off a whole bunch of impressive, you know, credits that you have, but you were here last time. You've done a lot. But now you're adding politician to the list. Why? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm trying to follow Senator Al Franken. I mean, he came from comedy, went into politics, and that's what I would like to do. My politics is pretty similar to his, so I'm trying to do the same thing back in the UK in the next election that comes around. So I've been an activist for some time.
That's great.
And it's a tough old world to get into. Thank you, one person. But it's, you know, I just decided I will go into that for a period of my life. And I also do surreal comedy in 4 languages now, and I'm running marathons and doing this.
Every week, right? Marathons every week?
I want to do 1 a week, because I met some people who were members of the 100+ club. They'd done over 100 marathons. And they're in their 60s and 70s, and they looked really good.
Of course.
But I think my body is designed to be moved, so that's why I try.
Yes, we're supposed to move.
Yeah.
But, you know, last time you were here, I think you were here in the middle of the Trump campaign last time, yeah?
Well, I don't call it the Trump campaign.
What do you call it?
Yes, well, I thought it was a general election you had, wasn't it?
Okay,
Well, the Trump campaign. Yes,
well, now that he's in the White House.
Well, yes, the strange thing
How
that
is
happened.
he doing, do you think? I mean, he's not really getting along with the Brits, even. I mean, he turns on all his friends. The Brits, the Canadians, the Australians, the French, the Germans. But he loves the Philippine guy, and he loves Putin, and he loves the Turks.
Kim Jong-un.
And he loves, well, a lot of these dictators. What do you make of all
We can't believe that it happened, but then we did have George W. Bush Jr. Trump just defies description. I know that Hillary got 3 million more votes.
She did in popular vote, yeah. But she still didn't win.
I know. Well, yeah. So we hold our breath. We had Brexit hate and Trump hate and all that kind of extremist politics. I don't agree with it. It's simplistic politics, which says do one thing, build a wall and hate these people, or build a wall, pull out of Europe and hate those people. And that doesn't work. We tried it in the 30s. It didn't work. Anyone pick up a history book? It didn't work then. It won't work now.
It's simple thinking. That's very true.
Yeah, it's simplistic. We have to real politics is as complicated as it looks, but we have to simplify our message and our direction through it. But the extremists come up with simplistic politics, which oversimplifies, just says build a wall, hate these people, it'll all be fine. Does not work.
In your book, you write about the first time you went out in public. Dressed up in makeup. You were 23 years old. And you got chased down the street by a group of teenage girls. And that incident actually shaped kind of how you faced people that opposed that.
Well, it was the first time facing them down. They were teenage girls, and I was 23-year-old man, so I should have been in a better position, but they realized they had power. They'd seen that I'd changed clothes, and they said, this is a guy, not a woman, and so they decided to follow me. They weren't even chasing me, they were just following me, and I couldn't go home because I'd come out from home. Anyway, so I thought if I go home, they'll know where I live, and they'll be outside the door forever. So I thought, I'll just walk away from home. So I walked away, and it was going on and on, half a mile, and I thought, I'm going to confront them. They just kept shouting, hey, why are you wearing a dress? So I said, do you want to know why I'm wearing a dress? I'll tell you why. And they just screamed and they ran off. And I thought, that's interesting. So since then, I have tried to confront everything. And it's not a perfect science, because it doesn't always work. Some people can be extremely violent and whatever. But I do try to confront. And I've had fights in the streets. And I've taken people to court for, just recently, the Crown Prosecution Service.
A lot of guns in this country. Be careful.
I know you have.
But there's a lot of other stuff in this country, too. That's good. There's a lot of good stuff. And these are not...
But he's going to run. You're not running.
These are not great for running.
But they're good weapons.
But they are great shoes. And I wanted to... And I'm giving them to you. I'm presenting these to you in public, in front of people. Because I read in the book that you couldn't come get your Emmys because you were shooting something else. You didn't get your soccer thing because they gave it to you in the hallway, and you never got anything awarded. So I'm awarding these shoes to you, Eddie Izzard, for being one of the best, straight up, funniest folks, fearless, one of the best people on the face of the earth, like our friend Billy Connolly. And so that is your award for being a damn good person.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to Eddie Izzard. The new book, Believe Me, A Memoir of Life and Death and Jazz Chickens, is available now. You can also catch him in his stand-up comedy tour, Force Majeure. We'll be right back. Wow. Welcome back. So, That's the show really for today.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah.
It's kind of great listening to him.
Izzard.
And Eddie Izzard. It's nice to, it's nice. We have good fun on this show. We don't always agree, but it's never dull. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. We want you all to go out today and have a great day and take a little time to enjoy do the best you can.